Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers with another running shoe review. In this video, myself and Nick are going to be doing a full review of the New Balance SC Trainer V2. Now, these are sent to us by Sport Shoes. We're not paid to do this review, so we can say whatever we want. But big thanks to Sport Shoes for getting hold of these shoes for us so we could do this review. Right, let's dive in and check it out. The New Balance FuelCell SC Trainer V2 costs £210 or $179.99, weighs in at 256 grams or 9 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 6mm. The Fuelcell SuperComp Trainer V2 sees several updates compared to its predecessor. The most important of those is a significant decrease in stack height from 47mm to 40mm in the heel. That, combined with a new, less dense midsole design, means the shoe is noticeably lighter than before. The NG Arc build sees a full-length carbon plate that sits between two layers of Fuelcell Foam. In the centre of the midsole is a hollow channel that New Balance calls a void, where the plate flattens with each step and reshapes on toe-off to provide NG return. The shoe also features an updated flat knit upper that aims to provide a comfortable fit with some reinforced sections for support, and there's a healthy layer of outsole rubber to protect the midsole foam and add grip.
So I have no concerns at all about the fit of the New Balance SC Trainer V2. I've got my normal size here, which is a UK 9, which converts to a 9.5 of New Balance. Sometimes their shoes can come up a little bit short, a bit cramped, things like the early editions of the Rebel and some of their racing shoes, but this is a nice amount of room in the toe box, good hold around the heel and midfoot. So I was very happy sticking to my normal running shoe size. That's what I'd recommend.
Fit for me in the SC Trainer. This is a size 8 UK. I am a size 8 in the UK. Fit me perfectly. I've done quite a lot of runs in this now and I've found it to be a very comfortable shoe. There's plenty of space in the midfoot and the forefoot, and there's a nice lockdown feel to the shoe. What I would say is that it's a very tiny thing, but I do think my toe gets closer to the end of the shoe than I would normally like. It's not been an issue, but I can feel it occasionally touching the end of the shoe. But I'd still stick to my size, but it's worth keeping that in consideration as it might run a little bit short.
So I was really excited for the SC Trainer V2 on paper. When I looked at all the specs, it sounded like a really good shoe. It's got very similar setup on paper actually to the SC Elite V3, just with probably a slightly different fuel cell formula and different geometry. And I hoped actually it would recapture some of the magic of the original New Balance TC, which was a really great shoe. And actually I don't think New Balance has managed to nail their plated training partner shoe since that shoe. That unfortunately remains the case with the SC Trainer V2 for me. I just don't think it really hits the mark. I didn't love the V1 just because it was so big and heavy. I found that it was a bit too heavy and high stack and a bit awkward at times, but it was undeniably incredibly bouncy. And with the V2, you've lost a little bit of that bounce, I'd say, actually a fair amount of that bounce, and you haven't really added much else because it is a little bit lighter, but I don't think this is a much more versatile shoe, and I don't think it's as exciting a shoe just to mooch around in. So not entirely sure that the changes made have improved the shoe with the second version of the SC Trainer. I've done 50k in it across a range of general training runs, so a couple of easy runs, progression run, gone down to the track to do a reasonably controlled session in it, running 2k reps and some 400 meter reps at solid pace, but not all out. And then I've done a tempo 10k. I really didn't like it very much for the speedier stuff. This is one of the new brand of super trainers that are coming out that seems geared much towards easy runs. Things like the Kinvara Pro or even the Mac X, I think, is at its best almost for just your general daily training, and then it has a little bit of versatility for speed. For me, the SC Trainer has a little bit less versatility in terms of how it performs for speed sessions. It was okay on the track running those shorter reps, but it didn't feel like it was giving me a very explosive ride. And then on the tempo 10k, it really didn't feel great by the end. It really felt like quite sluggish. The transition's quite slow with this foam. I find it really gets lost around the midfoot. You don't get that nice propulsive feel of the fuel cell foam and the plate that you do get from some of the New Balance shoes with fuel cell in them, especially the SC Elite and the older TC. But so I just didn't find it great for that tempo 10k in particular, and that's the kind of run I normally would expect a plated training shoe like this to excel. It's the kind of run I really love doing in things like the Endorphin Speed, Adidas Boston, Magic Speed, that kind of thing. Easy runs, it does feel pretty good, but it's not an exceptional feeling. It's not as fun as going out and doing those easy runs in something like the Super Blast from Asics, for example. It's okay to do those easy runs in, it's comfortable enough, it's stable enough, but really getting the ride I expect from a midsole setup like this, it's not quite as bouncy and fun as I'd hope. And there is a little bit of bounce there, obviously, but yeah, not quite enough to make this a shoe that feels really compelling and exciting to pull on. So overall, the run test was just okay for me. Like, I think it's a reasonably versatile shoe, but not that exciting and thrilling to pull on for just general daily training. It's just okay, and then not that good for speed sessions, which I do think a plated trainer like this should be able to handle pretty well.
Okay, so I've done about 70k in this shoe now, and I have used it for a variety of runs. So I've done a half marathon run at consistent pace. I've done interval sessions in this shoe. I have done park run in this shoe, and I've done some easy 10Ks. And what I've found about it is that it doesn't quite deliver what I want it to deliver. The original SC trainer, I liked that shoe, but it didn't quite work for me. It felt a bit clunky. It was very fun. It was very bouncy. The midsole had a nice bit of energy return in it, but it did feel like quite a big clunky shoe. And I found that when I was using it for longer runs, when I'd get over maybe 20k, it just felt like it became a bit cumbersome, and I just didn't enjoy it for those runs. Up until about that point, it was a very enjoyable shoe, nice little bit of bounce in it. The SC Trainer V2 is like a completely different shoe. It's sort of like a combination of the original SC Trainer and the SC Elite. And as a result, it sort of loses stuff from both of those shoes, I think. It basically, for me, when I'm running shorter distances in this shoe, it feels fine. It feels like you can pick up a nice pace in it. It feels relatively versatile for short distances. And I've also found that for intervals and things like that, it's fine. It's fine. It's not the best versatile shoe out there. I definitely don't think it's well designed for intervals. And sadly, I don't think it's particularly good for longer runs either. What I found about this midsole foam, I think it's all about this midsole foam, is it's very soft, but it when you're doing longer runs, it almost feels like it's collapsing a bit. You can really feel that it's squishing quite a bit, but not giving you anything back. And I think that is quite a noticeable problem when you're doing longer distance sessions. It just feels like it's deadening the fall quite a bit and not really bouncing you back with that energy. And for that reason, I've not really enjoyed it for longer runs, which is sort of why I'd want to get this shoe, I think. Because it's designed as sort of a training partner to the SC Elite, but yeah, it doesn't really do it for me. It just feels like it's a bit dead, and I don't really get a lot out of it. The heel to toe transition on it is fine. At shorter distances, you just feel like you get a nice rolling motion out of it. It's not that noticeable. It doesn't feel like there's a really nice bounce and energy return from it over those runs. It feels comfortable. It feels like you can do those things, but for the price, it just, for me, feels like it just doesn't deliver on any area particularly well. So I think there's a lot of shoes out there that are similar to this, or doing something that this is designed to do, and they're doing it better. And I think it really comes down to that midsole foam. I think the midsole foam is just a little bit too compressive, and I just don't think it works very well with that plate. So other than that, I think that it's a comfortable shoe. It's solid, but it just misses something for me with this midsole foam. I did find that the outsole on it was completely fine. It seemed to grip pretty well in the conditions. We've been having pretty wet conditions at the moment, and when I'm doing intervals and faster sessions in the park, the outsole is perfectly competent, does a good job. I didn't feel like it was in any way losing any grip or anything like that. Also, because of the in the original SC Trainer, it was quite high shoe, and because it was a bit of a bouncier foam in it, it was a little bit unstable. I think this has gained a little bit of stability by the updates that have been made to this midsole foam, but it hasn't gained anything in terms of speed or acceleration or bounce or energy return or things like that. But it's definitely a bit more of a stable shoe than the original. So my verdict on the Fuelcell SC Trainer V2 is that it's just lacking something for me. It's just a shoe that is, on paper, it sounds good. It is a progression of the original trainer. It looks like it should work. It's meant to be a little bit faster, a little bit less bulky, but it's just lost a lot of enjoyment in that midsole foam. It just feels a bit collapsible. and it just doesn't have a lot of energy return. I don't mind running in this shoe. I've done some quite nice runs in it, but for the price, and it is a very pricey shoe for what you're getting out of it, I just feel like you're not really getting a shoe that delivers in any sort of super trainer way. And I definitely wouldn't use it up against something like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, maybe even something like the Hoka Mach X. I just think I'd still go for those shoes over this for versatile, longer training and all those sorts of runs. And I think it's all down to that midsole foam.
So I was really excited for the SC Trainer V2 on paper, but the actual performance of the shoe has left me wanting a little bit more from it all round. I think it is a reasonably versatile shoe. Can pick it up and do all your easy runs in it, long runs, and it will be okay for speed sessions, but there's just a lot of competition in this area, and I think there are lots of shoes that do its job a fair bit better. I think the best kind of all-rounder plated shoes beat it across every kind of run. Things like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, the Adidas Boston 12, which has rods instead of a plate, but an otherwise very similar setup. Asics Magic Speed 3 is a lot more speed focused than this and isn't as comfortable for easy runs, but it is, I think, a more effective super trainer in that it is such a good shoe for fast sessions or as a racing alternative. I never want to line up for a race in the SC Trainer V2. It's really a shoe that is built, I think, for the easier end of those training runs, in similar vein to some of the other super trainers on the market, things like the Kinvara Pro, Hoka Mach X. They have plates, but they're really big, stable, comfortable shoes. They can do a lot. I prefer those other two. I think the Mach X and the Kinvara Pro are both just a little bit more enjoyable for easy runs, but also actually have a little bit more when it comes to running at pace, which surprises me, definitely with the Kinvara Pro in particular, because I didn't think that was a particularly impressive shoe for speedier runs, but I didn't find that the SC Trainer really excelled on that front either, despite the setup of the shoe, which I think looks really good and looks like it really should be exciting and impressive and repulsive, but just didn't really work for me that way when I ran in it. It kind of shows the difference things like geometry and foam densities make with shoes, because like I say, there's a lot of the same ingredients here as the SC Elite V3 from New Balance, but that's much lighter. Got a really aggressive heel-to-toe rocker, a big aggressive feel, which is what you expect from a racing shoe. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily want the exact same thing from the SC Trainer, but I want a little bit more of that in a shoe that I would like to be able to handle a wide variety of runs, because you look at the price, it's very expensive. You look at the competition on the market, and there are shoes that are better for every kind of run for less. Things like the Endorphin Speed and the Boston 12, even the Super Blast. Although that is also a very expensive shoe, obviously. So yeah, I think it's an okay shoe. I didn't dislike running in it, apart from that Tempo 10K, where it didn't enjoy it at all. But yeah, it's one that you can pick up and it'll probably do a fair job of all of your different kinds of runs, but there's certainly better options on the market, whether you're looking for a lighter all-rounder like the Endorphin Speed or a big, stable, plated daily trainer, something like the Hoka Mach X. But actually, if you're looking at this as an easy day shoe for easy and long runs, you could go and pay a lot less and just get a normal cushion shoe around the £100–110 mark. And I think you'd get just as much from it.
That's it from us on this review of the SC Trainer V2. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell. Check the channel for all the other videos we've got. Also, if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to our podcast, which comes out at the end of each month, which you can listen to when you're out on the run. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.